Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Lamont Lawhorn. I serve as Assistant Director of Bands here at North Carolina A&T State University. I was asked the question of how do I get my start in percussion, why am I passionate about it, and how did I go about doing the things that I do. I began very early on, got interested in drums at age 4. My mother got me a drum set and I broke it by age 4.5. Then on I was really big into church or grew up in church, and every Sunday I would just run to the drum set. Anytime I went to church I just run and just look at the drummer. And at age 7 my mother purchased the drum set from the church actually. And I told everybody in the neighborhood, come to church because I'm finna get it in. And I just sat down and just started playing. And people in the church were like, get that kid off those drums. But I stayed passionate about it and stuck with it. I took drum set lessons for about 6 months after that. And then I stopped because I listened to a whole lot of gospel music and I wanted to do the fancy stuff, and the teacher didn't want to teach me the fancy stuff. So I said, I'll just practice on my own. And I just played all through elementary school. In middle school, I joined the band and I played percussion there. In high school, joined a marching band. I played in a jazz band, played snare all through high school. And then in college, I went to an HBCU, Prairie View A&M University. I received my undergrad degree in music education. I played snare all through the marching band. I was a percussion major. I played in various organizations and things of that nature. So I was really fell in love with percussion during that time. I realized that I wanted to teach college during my undergrad years, because during the summers I would come back to my high school and teach, and I realized, well, I'd rather teach on the collegiate level than secondary school. So with that said, I knew I had to go and get graduate degrees. And so I went off to get my master's degree from the University of Mississippi, also known as Ole Miss, and that was in percussion performance. Studied with Ricky Burkhead. I was exposed to a lot of things, orchestral playing, jazz drum set, hand drumming. I actually put my best foot forward because I knew there were certain issues going on prior to my time at Ole Miss, and I said I wanted to put my best foot forward there. And I ended up winning concerto competition within the department. I was the first African American and also the first percussionist to win that competition. And I got to perform at various symphonies because of that. After I graduated from there in 2008, I moved back home to Fort Worth, and I toured with some artists, Inner City All-Stars. I played drums for them, and I applied to some universities. And one of the universities I applied to and was granted the opportunity to teach in was North Carolina Central. So in 2009, I moved to North Carolina, and I taught at North Carolina Central from 2009 to 2014. In 2011, I was working on doing various recitals and performances, and I applied to North Carolina UNC Greensboro to begin my doctorate program. And ended up graduating in 2015. So I graduated with my doctorate in percussion performance from UNCG in 2015. And throughout this period, being that I was teaching at HBCUs, I felt like I was teaching those students who look like me. When I didn't say this earlier, but when I applied to the master's program, I applied to 5 schools, auditioned for 4, and only got into 1. My audition was at one of the schools. It was a life-changing event. It only lasted 15 minutes. I was so embarrassed. Just felt like I didn't do well. And so I studied during my Ole Miss years and ended up going back and auditioning again for the doctorate program. And I was nervous. I played. I thought they were going to stop me, but they let me play one piece. I played another piece, and then I played another piece. And then they stopped me on the 4th piece. And I was like, that's how it goes. And they said, well, we remember you from the last time. And when you came, you weren't prepared. You just were not ready to play. But whatever you've been doing over the last 2 years, keep doing it. Oh, okay, cool. So they let me keep going. So then I played another piece and they stopped me again. They said, we really need students like you, because it's not that you can't play. It's just that you didn't know. And that was a life-changing moment for me, because I realized during my undergraduate years that I didn't get the information needed for me to succeed. And one of my passions is really education and teaching. I feel like I'm a teacher first and performer second, even though I don't want to diminish my performance skills. But I'm passionate about this percussion thing because I really love drums, and the fact that I love teaching, I don't want any students coming in to have that same feeling that I had, that they've paid all this money for tuition, they've studied under someone, and then when they get out in the real world, they don't have the information that they need to have. I have a personal philosophy of teaching, and one of those is to motivate students to the highest level. I try to connect with students and make sure that they understand that I'm pushing them to be the best that they can. Sometimes I can come off as sarcastic, sometimes I come off as playful, sometimes I can be really strict, but students know that I have their best interests in hand. The second thing about my philosophy of teaching is that I want to meet students on their level. I want to be very personable with students, and the reason why, I'm teaching myself. I went to HBCU, I marched in a drum line, I pledged organizations, and came from a single parent household. So I know a lot of the students coming in are just like me. And the fact that they can look at me and say, oh, this is Dr. Lawhorn. They address me as Dr. Lawhorn. They can say, oh, somebody that looks like me achieved these degrees. It can be in percussion or whatever. Just the fact that I've gone on to achieve certain things academically, that's a way for me to reach out to students and meet them where they are and let them know it can be done. I'm passionate because music has taken me a lot of places. When I was in high school playing drums, I got to open up for Kirk Franklin at a concert. Again, as I said, I won some competitions while I was at Mississippi and got to perform with various symphony orchestras. I've done some touring around Mississippi. Done some touring around the U.S., the East Coast, up Nashville, New York, Florida, all type of things. So you just never know where music can take you. I currently serve as a drum set committee chair for an international organization. I've presented at international organizations. I've presented clinics in Europe. Music can definitely take you anywhere and everywhere if you're just willing to sacrifice some things early on, work hard, and just remain faithful to whatever it is you put your heart's desire on. My last thing is just say, whatever you choose to do it to the best of your ability. You always want to be judged on your 100% and never judged on your 80. So put your best foot forward, and I hope that everything works out for you.